I loves me some 1 degree of Chunky B.
Now, I just have to make a comment about Chunky B. Have you ever seen him looking so good?
The panel that includes actress Lady Kazan, comedian Chunky B, and Playboy TV host Julie Strain. Chunky?
What was the question?
Are we rolling? Are we rolling? Ladies and gentlemen, we're rolling because we've got another fantastic, crazy, loving love fest in the Garage of Love. I'm Chunky B. You are tuning in to 1 Degree of Chunky B on ChunkyB.tv. We got something funny for you. Last week, we got a little serious with Leo, and I hope you dialed into that. What a great podcast that was. And you know why I'm stuttering? Because I'm thirsty. Say hello to Venice Duck. All right, Dogtown Duck. I want to say thank you to John Henry and Christian for providing us the beverage of our choice. It's slowly taken over the California.
The West Side.
West Side? Check it out. Across in the Garage of Love, the Table of Desire. Please say hello to executive producer Gary Adler.
Thank you, Chunky. Let me just get the label up there real quick. That's Venice Duck. Really excited today.
And you know something? People are actually donating.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're going to our 1 Degree of Chunky B, ChunkyB.tv, and they're donating it because we got to feed Travis. That's our cause.
That's it.
That was brilliant last week when you sit there and said, hey, we got to feed Travis.
We got to feed Travis.
Right. Gary Adler, if you're going to buy something on Amazon, why not go to ChunkyB.tv and go through our page?
I couldn't agree more.
Are you sounding sexier than normal?
I'm very sexy.
What is going on?
Right
What is going on? Hey, you guys, before we go any further, the Wizard of the Knobs, please say hello to Travis Spencer.
You guys have any chips or anything?
The knobs.
Chips or peanuts or anything? I'm hungry.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
I got some nuts. You could have. Hey, listen to me. Eye contact right here, right now. Comedians. You know we love stand-up comedians. We love funny people. Through our great friend Ryan Sickler, Crab Feast.
Friend of the show.
Been on here twice. We pulled this cat that I'm about to introduce you to right now. Funny guy and actually pretty sexy, if you don't mind me saying.
Not at all.
All right. Brandt Tobler in the Garage of Love.
I made it.
Oh my God.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Dude, I did some research on you. You're funny as shit, and you know what I like about you? No one says shit about you. Everybody likes you.
I appreciate
Everybody
it.
thinks you. You got a really good, positive vibe. You got a podcast. Just go ahead and give it to us right away.
Podcast called The 31. Ask 31 questions each week. 25 are the same. 5 different for the guest. 1 Twitter question. Very proud of it.
Right? That's a good hook.
What the fuck?
That's a good hook.
Organized.
We got nothing.
Who's your executive producer?
A lot of boredom. A lot of free time laying in bed trying to figure out a podcast.
Are you a stoner?
No, I look like one, but no.
Yeah.
Never done a drug in my life, which is
Come
crazy.
on. Is that real?
Nothing, yeah.
Holy shit. We'll get...
Well, the night is still young, brother. You're in the Garage of your love. Okay, check it out. I want to get some shit out of the way, just so our viewers and our listeners can just get your vibe. Where were you born?
I was born in Wyoming, then moved to Phoenix for a couple years for college, dropped out of college, moved to Vegas, lived in Vegas for about 12 years, and now been in LA about 2 years.
Awesome. What's your favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip?
Chocolate chip? Chips Ahoy?
No, like soft batch.
So, you're a softie. I'm a crunchy.
No, I'm a soft batch.
Look at that. We're about to have our first fight. The dude's a softie. I'm a crunchy. What are you?
I was always wondering, what is a stale cookie? Is it the soft cookie or the extra crunchy cookie?
That's a good question.
Right? I'm getting a headache.
The problem is I eat both. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, a glass of milk,
beer, anything. I just eat too many cookies.
Because I know we were talking about the NBA playoffs. What's your sport to watch? What?
I'm big football, basketball, pretty much all the sports.
You a gambler?
Yeah, I used to. That's what I did in Vegas. I was a runner for a bunch of professional gamblers for like 12 years.
So you were running cash?
They call that a bookie, Chunk.
Yeah. Well, and I was a bookie for part of it too.
But what are you in publishing? I don't understand what you're talking about. See, that was a bookie joke.
Can you elaborate for us?
I worked for a bunch of super rich dudes that were betting sports. As high as you can, and so my job was run up and down the strip and do what they told me, and I would carry hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash.
Are you serious?
Wow.
This is a dream job for any guy that loves sports.
How'd you get it?
Just lucky. I went to a gym, and then one day this guy was like, "You want a job?" And I had a girlfriend back home in Wyoming. I was about to go home to, and so I was like, "No," and he's like, "Come to lunch," and we went to lunch, and then he explained it to me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Then I could never get out of it. It was like being a stripper because I made so much money, and it was pretty much the greatest job you could ever have.
I mean, did you get in any life-altering situations?
Yeah, about it. My dad robbed me. I tried to kill my dad.
Shut up!
I got robbed.
Shut up! That's funny.
All right, hang on a
Look
second.
at it. What are you, some kind of comedian?
Wait, can we pause for a second here?
Yeah, I don't know how fast we want to get going.
Please, let's just talk about that for a second.
So my dad, the reason I haven't done any drugs, my dad was a big drug dealer when I was a kid. My dad went away to prison pretty much the whole time I was a kid. So then he got out of prison when I was in college in Phoenix, and he went to Vegas. And then so I moved to Vegas to kind of try to start a relationship with my dad. And then my dad, everything was cool. I brought in my little brother from Portland, so everything was going good. And then my dad got off parole, and he got back on drugs. So then one day I came home from a long day of work, Saturday college football, and I took a nap. My brother was at work, and then my brother came home. My dad had stole $350 from my brother that he had saved up. So my brother woke me up, and I was freaking out. We ran downstairs to see where my dad was. Because my dad started hanging out with like these little 20-year-old gangster kids. And then I realized, oh shit, I have that money. And I ran upstairs, and he took $80,000 from me. So then I had seen my little brother crying, and I knew my dad was definitely allergic to penicillin. So I'm at like 23 years old, not really the smartest killer. We hatched a plan to put some penicillin in a Jamba Juice and kill my dad.
Holy shit. Revelation.
Didn't see this coming.
No.
You know something? I'm shutting up.
Wow.
Just keep going.
I remember all the nice guy stuff you said. I remember nice guys. So then they...
Is the statute of limitations up? Because...
Yeah, no, if you can get them, there's a bounty on them. So I didn't do this. My brother and cousin took care of it. I flew to Estes Park to try to be away from it, and then he wouldn't drink it, and then they had him trapped in the garage. They tried to kill him with golf clubs, and then he got away. And then I've never spoke to him since that day.
And you don't know where he is?
I heard he's in Vegas, and I have a fear of. I have a feeling he'll show up, but maybe not. He hasn't shown up for a while, and I didn't talk to that side of my family for a long time just because I didn't want to be around him. And I talked to that side of my family a little bit now, and they said he's in Vegas, but.
Let me ask you this: your little brother, it seems like he might have taken it a little harder than you.
Yeah, he took it. I think he took it a lot harder, and that was the hardest thing for me. Because it wasn't my money, but I did have to go tell my boss, who was like my hero at the time. That was the hardest part for me, because I think part of it, my dad was a little jealous of this guy that gave me a job, because the guy that gave me a job was like the coolest dude in the world. So I'm coming from Phoenix, Wyoming. I never had more than $1,000 in my name, and now I'm hanging out with a millionaire in this 50,000 square foot house and just doing shit out of my dreams. So, and when I first got hired, my boss's partner, the fact I just showed up out of nowhere, he was really nervous that I was like an FBI plant, because there's really no reason for me to show up at this gym. It's like $100 a month gym. I really couldn't afford it, but I just loved basketball, so I just had a credit card and I signed up for it. So the first couple months, I really had to spend a lot of time with my boss and his partner, because his partner was really sketchy about me.
And you had to earn your trust.
Yeah, so then I had to earn his trust. And then, so when it all happened, my boss knew that I idled him he was like the dad I actually wanted. So he knows I didn't. He knew my dad did it, and then...
Did you ever see that $80,000?
No, my dad blew it. So, we were able to trace it. We had it. We knew he did it anyway, but then my dad just had patterns of... We knew what he did. So he blew it super fast, So you
did not see this coming.
I think my dad smoked weed once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk, man. Now, hang on. Are you not married or anything?
No, I'm married.
But now let me ask you: when you do have a kid, do you think it might skip a generation? You think?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
think I'll be a great dad.
Okay.
It's something I really.
But the kid's gonna be completely fucked up, right?
No, I think I hope not. But that's one thing I've always, ironically, I haven't got married. I think part of that was just Vegas, but I really want to have kids one day, and I think I will do pretty much the opposite of everything. Because the good thing is I've had very good men in my life, like my boss and other people because everyone knew my dad was gone from like 5 years old. So I've had coaches and everyone kind of step up, and I've been surrounded by great men that I think I've learned from. And then obviously I would never put kids through what I had to go through. Not that I even had to go through that much, because I had a great stepdad and stuff.
Still,
but I mean, I don't.
How about your mom? Is she cool?
She's cool. She's cool.
Yeah. How old are you?
36.
36.
Wow.
Remember when you were 36?
A couple years ago.
Yeah, right. Man, that first of all, you just freaked me out in a good way. So now I know that your background, is a springboard into why you're a funny guy now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Because he's seriously depressed, you mean?
Yeah, no. Every real good comedian
is seriously depressed.
Is fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
The childhood.
Yeah, Sickler's got dad issues too.
Right.
His dad died when he was real young.
Yeah,
he's been. I don't. I never. To be honest, I really wouldn't. My dad. I had a good stepdad that was around, and I really had a pretty good life. I mean, and as far as that part was bad with my dad there, but man, when I was in Vegas, I lived a dream life. You couldn't imagine.
You rolling,
That's
man.
crazy.
And how did you get out?
It all ended bad. So I started working for these young dudes, and then, but they were like the smartest dudes in the world. But they were like, I mean, I hate to shit on them, but they were like fat, nerdy dudes, and they couldn't get any pussy. So they were Skyping with these chicks in Thailand. So they flew over to Thailand to get these girls, and one of them ended up not going for whatever reason. And he was like, he had a bad back and like bipolar, so he was taking all this crazy medicine. So he freaked out in the middle of the night one night, and he called his mom, who lived in Phoenix. And then he like hung up on her, and she got all nervous, and she drove up from Phoenix to check on him. Well, she got to the mansion. Everyone lived in this mansion. I didn't live there, but we worked out of this big ass house, and so she couldn't get no one to answer the door or anything. So she called the police. The police came. They busted in the doors. They find the guy dead in the pool.
Oh, fuck.
We have a basement in Vegas. No one has a basement in Vegas, just full of flat screens and TVs and shit. They think we're bookies. They confiscate everything, like 2.3 or I think it was like 2.8 million or 2.3 million, like 3 different safes. Confiscate everything, TVs, computers. My bosses come back with these girls from Thailand in the limos and shit. Like, welcome to America. The front door's open. They run inside. Everything's gone. They call the police, and they're like, we think our buddy got kidnapped and we got robbed. And the police are like, your buddy's dead, and we have your stuff. You can come see us tomorrow. Oh. Then like 2 days after that, I got a phone call, and they just said, Marco's dead. I was like, so now what? And they're like, it's over. I was like, what do you mean it's over? They're like, we're going to Costa Rica tomorrow. It's over. And then that was it. They moved. And
did they set up a gambling deal down there?
Yeah, because they had to keep gambling. I mean, they're the biggest gamblers in the world, so they had to keep going. So they knew they'd get the money back, because we really weren't doing anything illegal. They just had to go through the lawyers, and then I think they got part of the money back, because in the gambling world everything's cash, so there's a big tax. Damn. So I would imagine that. So they immediately moved to Costa Rica, and I've never.
You can get a lot of pussy in Costa Rica, by the way. Doesn't matter what you look like.
It's incredible. That is
fat,
true.
sweaty nerd dude gets
it's true, man.
All right, you're freaking my shit, dude. This is stuff I can't find out about you on the internet, man.
Yeah, it's I'm working on a one-man show. It's something I try to talk about on stage, but it's just a little too dark. So I think it's gonna. I've been working on it a lot lately, and it'll hopefully be a one-man show where. And maybe more of a theater where they're not looking for a laugh every 15 seconds. And they want to come along for the ride. Because the whole, I'm just giving the short version of it all. But the whole journey is something that now I can appreciate now, because I'm like I said, I'm not really depressed or anything. I never, if I even have a bad day, I just stop and be like, man, I'm a fucking kid from Wyoming.
Right.
I live in Hollywood. I'm a stand-up comedian. I dreamed of being like a PE teacher that maybe won a state championship in basketball. So I've outdreamed my dreams. Right. So
Where do you move west of the 405?
Yeah.
Then you've really hit the big time.
Right.
That's
my
cool,
dad
man.
always said to me, if you want to be a winner, hang out with losers. All right? Sorry. A little too close. Too soon? Man, you're awesome. When did you start going, like, fuck it, I'm going on stage?
So I started doing stand-up, which was kind of cool. I chickened out for a long time in Vegas, and then Stanhope wrote a blog in the old MySpace days about if you want to make it as a comedian, you got to do it yourself. You can't wait for these clubs. So I read that blog, and I sent him a message and said, okay, well, then I'm going to do it myself, because I was making all kinds of money. I was making like $5,000 a week. So I said, all right, well, then I'm going to do what you said. And I built a stage in my backyard.
Oh, shit.
And I said, are you coming? And he said, yeah, of course I'm coming. So then I fucking started doing backyard shows in my backyard. First one was like Tig Notaro. Then I had like Brody Stevens and Morgan Murphy, Doug Benson, Neil Hamburger. The final one I had was Doug Stanhope. Sold out, 270 people in my backyard.
Nice.
People flying in from all over the country. I gave a whole door to the artist, just pick guys that I wanted to work with, and that would come. And it was a house we were renting, so I got evicted like a month later.
Right.
But I had an incredible backyard show.
Did those shows get taped?
Yeah, we taped some of them.
Man,
it was just
cool
a cool thing, you know. Just
Yeah.
people would just come. It started small, 60, then 80, then 100. Then by the time stand-up come, it was
so cool.
Are you
incredible.
catching this?
Yeah, the guy's
Dude, what are you? You're like bulletproof.
Nah,
Fucking guy
I'm
was-
pretty lucky. I'm pretty lucky.
I will say that we've had a lot of our guests have really just sort of had this weird dream and followed it, you know, which is really cool. Yeah.
Well, you know, you've done it. I've done it. You've done it too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he walked
Was
in
it?
here and said, "How the fuck does this guy have this house?" Right? Dude, everyone says
it's
it.
a very beautiful house. Yeah. Beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, pizza on the table. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Come to my fucking apartment in fucking Hollywood surrounded by crazy Russians. You're doing way better than me.
Dude, you just made me feel good. You know something? When I get depressed, I'm gonna think of this conversation right
Come
now.
to my house for a minute. I don't have a garage or anything.
When were you? When did you think that moment on stage where you're on top of the world and I know this is my calling? Did you ever have that? That moment?
As awful as it is to say, it probably the first time, because I put it off so many times, and then I had so many people at the show, and I had a few beers, and the first time went so good, and I was like, and I had people always say, like, I had a confidence that I never had. When you carry $100,000 cash with you,
You got some balls.
I got this confidence that just grew over the years, like, because I would just, if you fucked with me, I would just pull out a wallet. You know, I always had $10,000 in my right pocket, pay for everything with it. So if someone ever even got near me, you pull that out, the power that has over years of just carrying so much money and having everything comped, and just, so by the time it was time to get to stage, I wasn't, I shouldn't say I was that confident, because I did chicken out a lot, but then the first time it went, I was like, it just went so good the first time, and then I was like, this is what I'm doing.
So would you go up there and do like a short 4-minute?
No, I did 5 minutes. The first 5 times, I put it off so much, and it was kind of I say I did this, but it was really me being a pussy, but I said the first 5 times I'm going to do 5 different minutes.
Right.
So I did it, and then so they all went pretty good. I mean, not great, but they did. In the scene I was in, they were good. It was Vegas at the time. There was one open mic. So they went good enough, and just that feeling of when you come off stage, there's nothing like it. And then I was hooked. I mean, like, winning money is amazing. That was the rush I had of winning money is better than sex, anything I've ever done.
But were we craps, poker?
No, it was sports.
Oh, so
we were like, when you win a big bet, or there was times when we knew shit was fixed and stuff, and like when there's just no better feeling than going, I'm just gonna double this money. It's like,
and everything comes together.
Yeah. So like, or when you miracle win a bet, like times when you're not supposed to, or times when I'd fuck up a ticket and I knew I was gonna be in trouble, or just like sometimes the rush of winning is amazing, and nothing would ever compare to it until I did stand up, and then, you know, even in a small room of 30 people, because that was my talent. Whereas with the gamblers, I knew I was just doing what they told me. It was still a good feeling, but when I did it, then I was like, man, I'm fucking good. And then I'd always eat shit after. But
right. But were you so deep into it, like when the line changes, like a couple points, were you going both sides?
No, we would change the lines. That's what we bet that much. But you know, and that's another thing I learned. The very first bet, they were just like, we were betting Duke football in like 2001 when they haven't won like a game ever. And my first bet was $20,000 at Bally's on Duke football,
Duke,
like plus 36 or something. And I said, "Why are we going to bet this?" And the dude that was training me is like,
"Shut up.
Let me tell you something. There's one rule: don't ever do what you're told." You know. So over time, and there's times when I didn't bet what they did, and you take chances, because in the beginning, I got to hold my payroll. I got to hold the roll all the time, so it could waver up and down, and I could fix shit and not. But then towards the end, when people start stealing money, we had to check it in the mornings and shit, and so. Yeah, it was a fucking. It's
kind of
a world I could never dreamed of.
All right, dude, you're coming back. I always say, "Oh God, you're coming." No, you're coming back after you write your fucking book.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah.
You write the book, because right off the bat, chapter 1, people are not going to put that thing down.
Yeah.
I'll read that fucker twice, and I'm not a reader.
I hope so. I'm really working on it. If anyone out there wants to give me a book deal, I'm easy to find.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, dude. Okay, you just made my fucking night. All right. Sometimes we get a guest in here, and you gotta pull a little bit. Fuck. What?
Shit, I think that's me. Sorry, guys.
I thought Tyrion was coming for me or something.
Just got a book deal, I think. So sorry about that.
That's all good.
No, that's right. You want to take it?
No, it's not important at all. I thought my phone was dead, so I didn't even shut it off.
What's the largest room you told jokes in?
I performed for the Navy down in Palm 29 or something for I think 1,200, which was cool. And I've done some decently big shows in Vegas, but nothing. I have nothing crazy.
Any USO tours?
I'm going on so I just got to perform for the troops is something I've always dreamed of doing, and so I signed up for it, and they reached out to me. They're like, you're going on tour, and I was like, cool. I'm gonna go to Afghanistan or Iran or Iraq or wherever, and I got my fucking orders, and I'm going to Italy, Turkey, and Greece. I'm pretty lucky. So I'm going to Venice, Naples.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of us for your sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay, really.
No doubt. No, entertain the troops. Seriously. No. There is a little truth in sarcasm. Dude,
it's pretty lucky. So I'm middle of July. I go, like I said, it's Venice, Naples, and then a couple days off. Then we're in Greece and Turkey.
Have you traveled there before? Have you been anywhere?
Yeah, I went there when I was gambling. I had so much money. My girlfriend lived in Barcelona, so I'd fly to Barcelona for the weekend, and I just lived. I can't even explain it. I
started liking him. I don't like him. I don't even like you anymore, dude. You get laid a lot.
Does that make you feel better? She broke my heart.
Yeah. Do you get laid a lot?
Yeah, when I had money. No, I do all right.
I grew up in Miami in the 80s, and there was cocaine everywhere.
Right.
I still didn't have $10 to my name.
Yeah.
I am not that smart, man. I'm not smart enough.
Look at this guy. Listen, I got so much more. We have so much more to ask you. We're gonna take just a little break, and we're gonna drink some more. We're gonna drink some beer. I'm gonna let you breathe, but I want to tell you people right now. Come on, Brandt Tobler. What a fucking great guy this guy is, man.
Look him up. Look him up.
Look him up. We're gonna take a break, and you're gonna see. We're drinking Venice Duck, and you probably see whatever.
Couple of promos.
Okay. Thanks for your awesomeness, and we're still not done with you. This is 1 Degree of Chunky B and the Garage of Love. You guys rock. You guys have got to check out our brand new sponsor, Venice Duck Brewery. You want to get your quack on? Taste some of this.
Hi, Winston Giles here in Los Angeles, California from 1 Degree of Chunky B, and our artist of the week this week is Fascinator. Australian Johnny, now out of New York, and the song's called Mr. Caterpillar.
Hey, let's bring everybody back into the Garage of Love. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Brandt Tobler, what an amazing fucking... And this is me wearing your ass like a hat, all right? Dude, you know, I pride myself on knowing everybody in this business. That's a 1 Degree of Chunky B. But you and I are now new BFFs, right?
I like it, of course.
All right? But check this out. If you know anybody that wants to go shopping, go to my website. Don't go to yours. Go to chunkyb.tv. Go to Amazon. Buy some shit on there. And if you want to help me feed Travis... Adler and I are wanting to feed the Wizard of the Knobs.
We're taking donations.
We're taking donations to get him maybe a buffet at Home Style. What's it?
Home Style buffet?
Ooh.
He looks hungry today, so get him some food.
Yeah.
His wife works on a food truck. She should be feeding your ass, bro.
Hey, you know,
She's out of town.
hey, real quick, before we get to Brandt's crazy love fest over here, what's your fiance up to?
Well, she's on the great food truck race right now.
Right.
I don't know how much I can actually talk about it, though.
Oh, we're ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not going to come out till like August, and she had to sign like a non-disclosure and all this.
Right.
Right on. But we'll talk about it. But we'll get back to we'll be all over that when the time is right.
Comes, absolutely.
But you can say she's on the barbecue truck, so watch, right?
Yeah,
You're allowed to do
absolutely. that. Yeah, because they let them sign up for like Facebook accounts and stuff like that, so it's already out there. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's way too much time for Travis.
I know.
Way
And
too much time.
Tobler's over there. I thought this shit was about me.
No, I'm hungry. I'm into that. I want to hear about
Why
barbecue.
didn't you eat the fucking pizza?
I'm fucking hungry.
Are you really? You want me to go get your
No,
sauce?
I'm good. No, I'm good.
All right, check it out. You've got a resume that is beyond imagination. Is that?
Yeah, what do you put on your resume?
Well, that's the hard part. None of this dad killer and fucking gambler and hooker banger and I don't know. That shit that doesn't go on like the improv wall. That's the problem. I can't fucking no one manages me or agency at me yet.
Oh my God! It says here you tried to kill your dad.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be a typo.
Yeah, no.
How much did you laugh when that song came out? I got $20 in my pocket. You're like, what, $20? I don't fucking take a shit for 20. I don't know. That was funny. That was funny up here.
It hurt. It just reminded me when I used to have all that money. That's what hurts the most. Is just I blew so much money and now just trying to survive as a comedian.
You know what? I say?
We all
so
did
what?
that.
So the fuck
No, yeah, I know, but just this week.
We did that. He did that.
Yeah,
he cashed in once. I cashed in once, and didn't save a fucking dime.
No. That's why we're in a fucking garage.
That's right.
All right?
It's a nice garage.
What do you think of the color?
It's incredible. It's some Ralph Lauren paint or something.
Yeah.
I saw that shit in Italy.
All right. Enough about the fucking garage.
It's pistachio.
Okay, let me ask you. You're fighting a fight every day in the comic world, right?
Yeah.
What is your day-to-day operations, and where do you want in LA? Where do you prefer to perform?
Well, I like to perform at the Improv or any of the main three. I live right there, but it's just so fucking hard to get into, and that's why I tell people about LA. It's so humbling. Like, I mean, and no one gives a shit about seeing me because even if I'm on stage, they can see like Daniel Tosh or Dane or someone standing in the wing. I mean, the fact that they put up the order when you walk in, so you're like, okay, well, the third comic is Daniel Tosh, the fourth one's Aziz, then two fucking guys that no one gives a shit about, and then we'll zone out and check our phones till Dane comes on or something. So
Or then Chappelle will walk in and do 2 hours of nothing.
And you get booted.
Yeah. And then I'll do a set and they'll give me $12. Which, what the fuck can I do with $12? So, I mean, it's like LA's very.
Dude, go to Vegas and turn that $12 into some cash.
Yeah, dude.
No, I tell young comics, you know, when you live somewhere else and then people give you advice, they're like, LA's hard, and then you live in your little town and you're the big fish, and you're like, well, yeah, LA's hard for you. I'll be fine. Right. And then you get out here and it's fucking LA's hard.
Dude, we all thought we were going to conquer this town quickly.
I think the first like 2 years where I'm at, I just learned stuff. Now, like I said, now I have a one-man show almost done, a book. Like I remember when I first took meetings, they're like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a stand-up. And they're like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a good stand-up. And they're like, all right, beat it, man. We can't make no fucking money off your $12. So,
Right.
So I think it's a real learning process. If you're a young comic and you're coming out here, I think you got to do it. You need to come learn it.
Yeah.
You can only learn it here, but very humbling. It's just a whole different world that you're.
It's a grind, a disgusting late night
Dirty
fucking grind.
ass, kissing back, stabbing, lying, look you right in the eye and tell you something. The next day, you're like, I thought we had talked.
The green rooms all stink and it just sucks.
Yeah.
Dude, I just finished up working on Last Comic Standing. And I did 1 day of warm up on it. I wasn't like on the show.
Yeah.
And then I got into business as a camera operator. So I still shoot camera. I learned so much about stand-up comedy, even though I've been, telling jokes for 15 years. But when you're backstage, it is really depressing.
Yeah, of course.
You get all these best comedians in the country. The stand-up, the Last Comic Standing. You got Wanda Sykes as the executive producer, and the judges is Roseanne. And
Russell Peters,
and
Damon Wayans,
yeah, right. So I hung out with those guys, and it's not a pretty sight backstage.
Nah.
And you know something? They didn't even have fucking water for the comics backstage. And then they had this little buffet, that was chicken wings for maybe 5 kids, going to McDonald's. Fucking, it's just a really depressing situation.
Well, that's I'm trying to change it from that stand-up thing, but if you're out there, I don't know where you live. If you want me to come to your town, call me up, send me a message on Twitter or Facebook or wherever.
Right. Go on there. Give more details about that. Just
Brandt Tobler, but I just book my own shows on the road, and when I do this feature work for $500 for 5 shows, and they fucking give me a bill for my chicken fingers and shit at the end of the week, I'm walking with $320 on a 380 flight. I don't do that shit anymore. I'll come if you were in Billings, Montana, or Des Moines, Iowa. I'll come. The fans are great. This podcast is really starting to change it.
Yeah.
And if you have a fan somewhere and they'll find a bar, I'll call the bar, say, let me get the door, $10 at the door.
Yep.
They're like, well, what do we have to pay you? I say, nothing. Well, we do karaoke on Friday nights at 9:30. Well, I'll do my show at 7 and tell the people to stick around.
Yeah.
get 50 people to come out. I can do as long as I want, and they treat me like a god for coming to their little town, and everyone's happy. Whereas if I go to these comedy clubs, the fucking
the managers at those comedy clubs are fucking
they don't give a
idiots,
shit about anything.
Okay, listen to me. I'm going to put it out here right now. I want to jump on your train. If you set something up in a little city thing, and I'll send you my stand up. All right, I want to open for you.
You're welcome to
all
come.
Right, and I'll travel with you.
Yeah,
all right?
I want to film the whole thing and just with GoPros and fucking.
There's there was backyard wrestling. Now it's backyard stand up or some shit like that.
Yeah, I know. I like what you're thinking because of where he started. He put a stage in his backyard.
With wrestling though, there's got to be. Get it all in there.
Yeah. We're gonna get you.
We're big tag team partners and comics.
Oh my God! How funny would that be? We're wrestling, and I give him a body slam. He pops up, does like 3 minutes. We tap out.
That would suck.
So yeah.
Adler, what's on your mind? Because you're looking at me like you want to say something.
As far as sports go, I think we should segue. I will say my very good friend Ryan Sickler he lubed me a little bit about Brandt, and he all he wrote was Vandejagt. So I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Vandejagt. I don't even know where to start. If you don't know who Mike Vandejagt is, he's an awful kicker for the Colts that I always hated.
He was actually a great kicker for a long time,
You're right?
Yeah.
You're right. He's an awful person that was a great kicker for the Colts. And one of my biggest bets I had when I really needed the money, I had the Colts to win the AFC and win the Super Bowl. And when they had a monster team with Peyton Manning, and he fucking donkeyed a kick way off. And he was just always a douche, man. He had like blonde highlights and everything. And
yeah.
I hated him.
And he would talk smack.
Yeah.
A kicker.
Yeah, so he was famous for talking shit to Peyton Manning about he got all liquored up. So he was talking bad about Peyton, and then Peyton was at a Pro Bowl, and they asked him about it, and Peyton's like, yeah, that's just our kicker. He got all liquored up and ran his mouth.
He's a drunken idiot.
Yeah, called him a drunken idiot. Yeah. So fast forward like 5 years, I'm a diehard Bronco fan, went to the Super Bowl. I'm the biggest Bronco fan in the world. I'm doing shows in Marco Island, Florida, with my buddy Jeff Dye, and they take us to a bar after the show, and it's called Vandy's. We walk in, and it's just full of Colts gear and shit, and it's Mike Vandejagt's bar, and we're like,
oh sweet Jesus!
So we're like, so we asked the bartender, at first we're like, let's see Vandejagt. So I asked his mic around, and they're like, nah, he got in trouble for there's a little kid that was heckling him in town, at soccer games, calling him wide right, and he
no way.
So he choked out this little kid like a 12-year-old. And then the bartender was like, and then his wife caught him banging one of the waitresses in the back room, so he doesn't come around here much. So we're like, all right, whatever. So we start drinking more and more, and then my buddy Jeff, he's a good dude. He's never really gotten in any trouble, but we start drinking, and I kind of got in his head. I was like, we should steal something from Vandejagt just to say that we were here. So he's like, all right, let's do it, and he starts walking around, and everything's mounted in the wall, right? So we kind of give up on it, and we're about to leave. And now this comedy club was the best. They put us in this immaculate penthouse, the best place I've ever stayed on the road. My buddy Jeff Dye is the hottest dude in LA, so he has a ton of chicks just down to go. So we're like, we're gonna go back to this penthouse, bunch of chicks. It's gonna be amazing, right? So on the way out, as we're ready to go out, there's two. Right by the front doors, there's two framed Pro Bowl jerseys. One's Mike Vandejagt, and one is Edgerrin James. So I just flick it a little bit with my finger. I'm like, it's just hanging on a string. I pull Jeff in the bathroom. I'm like, yo, let's grab these jerseys, man.
No.
I will take this Vandejagt jersey and I will give it to Peyton Manning. And he's like, let's do it. So I'm like, when we come out we told these girls, park the car right in front. We're going to come out and just go. And they, girls didn't know what's going on. We come out, we grab them off the wall, and I have a picture of them. I don't know if you can put it up, but and we take them right out. So we take them to this penthouse, bust them out of the frames, throw them on. We're wearing them around we made the Pro Bowl. We're in the Pro Bowl. So we have them, right? And then the girls are wearing them because they're long. So girls are wearing them dresses. They're naked under them. We got beer on them, glitter and shit. It's just a party, right? So we're partying. Next night, we, like I said, my boy Jeff, he's just good looking, charming. You can't keep girls away from him. So the next night we have 5 more girls over. Everyone's partying them again. So these jerseys are just parties, right? Everyone's taking pictures and shit. So then the third night we tell the owner of the club, we're like, hey, we thought he would think it was funny. We're like, hey, we jacked Vandejagt. He got Vandejagt, and he's like, what are you talking about? And he's
Vandejagt.
So he's like, we tell him the story, and he kind of laughs about it, and then we do our show, and the the shows were shitty anyway. Not because it's not his fault, but it's like all rich white people, and the club is a seafood restaurant. So it's just bad.
Wait,
anyway.
the show was at Vandejagt's?
No, the show is at this place called Captain Brian's seafood restaurant. So then the next morning he calls us. It's Saturday morning, and he's like, "Hey man, you guys got to take those jerseys back."
Oh,
and we're like, "Oh man!" And like I said, Jeff's my boy, but he's never done anything. He didn't live Vegas with me or anything. He's like a good Christian kid from Seattle. He's never gotten in any trouble. So it's like his first like good story, and he's like, "No, I don't want to take these back. This is awesome." He's getting all this, he's got kind of a bad boy story, and the dude's like, "No, you got to take them back." So I told Jeff, I was like, "Man, don't worry about it. We got the pictures, whatever."
Right.
We did the story. You still got the story. We'll just take them back, whatever. So we just throw them. We broke these frames and shit. We had just throw them back in the frames. So we have these girls take us, and we just drop them off on like the patio. Call the dude back. We're like, "Yo, we gave him back. It's over." And the club owner's like, "Okay, cool." So we do the show Saturday night, but the whole rest of Saturday, Jeff's like mad. He's like, "Man, this sucks, man. I wanted that jersey." So then on Saturday night, we're kind of talking about it, and then but I'm like, "Jeff, just don't worry about it. We're cool." So then Sunday comes, and he's still mad about it, and then everyone's in town's kind of talking about it because they heard they were stolen, they were back. So Jeff's kind of running his mouth like, "You know what? If someone gives me that jersey, I'll put a $3,000 bounty on that jersey. If that jersey shows up at my house, I'll send you $3,000. And everyone's like, "Nah, whatever." So we do the shows, and then it's our last night. So we go to the bars. The bars are dead, and we still have this penthouse, and we want to get some girls. So it's like 12 o'clock. We're like, "What are we going to do?" And they're like, "I don't know where everyone's at." And they're like, "Oh, I get." And then we found out that it was Vandejagt's birthday. So everyone was at Vandy's. So they're like, "You guys can't go to Vandy's," and we're like, "No, we probably can't." And then we had a couple more fireball shots. We're like, "We're fucking going to Vandy's." So we go to Vandy's. It's Vandejagt's birthday, but he's gone. I think he was there, but either way, but he wasn't there when we got there. So we get there at like 12:30. So we're pretty drunk. We get there. It's no one says anything bad to us or anything. We're drinking fireball shots. It's the last night. The crew from the comedy club is with us, so we start drinking. And then I remember taking a fireball shot, and then I just told Jeff. I remember going, "Hey, you know what'd be pretty gangster? To steal these jerseys, again. Give them back, and then steal them again." And he's like, "Let's do it." So we start walking around. So there's like only maybe one bartender, so we start kind of trying to duck into offices and stuff to find the jerseys. And I go into this conference room, and I see him on the floor, and I don't even mess with Edrin James's. I just break open the back of the frame again, pull out Vandejagt's, and I run outside. I put it up my back of my shirt. I called Jeff from across the street. I'm like, "Yo, come on, I got some girls." He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I got some girls, come outside." And then he came outside, and he runs across the street. He's like, "Where are these girls?" And I just pull it out of my back of my shirt, and I throw it to him, and he's like, "Holy shit, we got it again." So we get in a cab. We go to the penthouse, we party all night, and he's so happy because he got it back. So he has an MTV show. So it's Monday morning. He has to wake up and fly to New York for his MTV show. So I was featuring for him in Raleigh on like Thursday. So I was just gonna crash in this penthouse and chill until I had to meet him in Raleigh. And he's gonna fly back down. So 5 a.m. or whatever, he says bye to me. Takes the jersey. He's out. I wake up at like 12:30. My phone's just blowing up, and this other dude is calling me like, "Yo, you got to get off the island. They're looking for you." They know, and we're on island. They're like, they know you have the jersey, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know what to do." And then, so I pack my bags and I go down and hide in these bushes, and I call this girl in Naples. Because I thought they were coming to the penthouse, so I literally like hiding, not in the bushes, but hiding like where tucked away, and then. So I go down there, and then luckily this girl knew someone that was kind of on the island. They picked me up. They took me to Naples. So then we start getting phone calls from the police, from the Naples police. From the Marco Island police saying, "Hey, give the jersey back or whatever." And we're just like deleting them. We're like, what's he gonna do? Extradite us from LA? Like, what are you gonna do, really? So we're kind of talking bad to him. Well, then Vandejagt starts calling us.
No.
He's like, "Yo, this
what a pussy! I want my jersey back."
Exactly. He's like, "Hey, this is Vandy. Oh, you guys took my jersey." He's like,
"It's my birthday.
I saw you guys look around pretty good, but you didn't look at the camera right above you and all this." And we're like, so he's like, "I want $1,000 for each frame. Send me my jersey, $2,000 back, and you have to sign a contract saying that you won't talk about it on stage or on TV or anything." And we immediately like, "No, we're comedians, absolutely."
Yeah, it's too good of a story.
Yeah, and that's why we're comedians. You can't censor us. It's why we got into this. So we're like, no, we rip up his contract and everything. So now he's like, "You owe me $2,700. There's a $700 contract, all this." And we're like, so then I bluff at him. I'm like, "We're not giving you shit back. That's it." maybe we'll send your jersey back or something. And then he bluffed, but then he came. I thought he would fold on that, but he came right back at us. And then it got all lawyers all got involved, and then we had to send the jersey back because our lawyers were like, that's a felony because it's a one of a kind game worn Pro Bowl jersey, like valued at over $15,000. So
who gives a shit? You stole it twice.
Yeah, I know. So we had to send. So we send it back, and then so we send it back and everything with we say we're sorry. So then, like about 2 months ago, so Vandejagt moves from Scottsdale. He moves to Scottsdale, Arizona. And he goes to this golf tournament, he's signing autographs, and my buddies are there.
Shut
and
up.
They start going, they go, hey, Vandy.
Where's your jersey?
Yeah, they start heckling him, right? They're like, Jeff Dye and Brandt Tobler, say what's up. And the guy, and he like gets mad and he won't talk to him. So then me and Jeff are doing shows down in Phoenix. And so we sent him a message saying, hey, Vandy, it's us. We're sorry. You know, let us buy you a beer and make up for it. But he never wrote us back. So
fucking great, man.
But
and
now-
now listen, if we get a chance, we will pop a little photo up in there. We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we tell it on the road. It's kind of cool because me and Jeff now, when there's a chance, we have two mics because he has the voicemail, so we can actually play the voicemail of Vandy going, "Hey, this is Vandy. Like, come on, man, just let me get my jerseys back." Because it's like his sister. We started with like the Marco Island Police, and then there's a message from his sister. So it's just building. Then all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, man, it's Vandy. Like, you guys looked at the camera. You're not that smooth. We got it all on tape. Can I just have my jerseys back?" So it does pretty good. And then at the end, we both just are like, "Fuck Vandejagt," and we walk off the stage, and they love it. So it was a crazy. It was cool though, but I hated
Round of
Vandejagt.
applause for that. Okay, one of my favorite stories right there.
Fantastic.
Tobler. Can I just call you Tobler?
Of course,
Man, all right.
I've been called much worse.
Can I just jump in? And I've got no way to compare what a great story. But my little joke was rival crosstown football. I wasn't a football player. I was a soccer player. But our football team in high school sucked. Mm-hmm. And we were playing McNick down the road. It was a Catholic, rich kids, school. And they always beat our ass. Right before halftime, I stole the bass drum from the marching band. I stole the bass drum, and the bass drum guy walked in the marching band without his bass drum. We were all like, "Where's your drum? Where's your drum?" The geek that's got the mound. Boom, boom, boom. And to this day, you still have it.
You still have
in my buddy Dave Karate's basement. Still have it.
Nice.
McNick's drum, and it's all like, it's from 1980, 81. 1981, I stole McNick's bass drum, and the fucker walked on the football field with nothing.
That's awesome.
I don't know why I busted out
With
that
a
story.
beatbox.
It's not as good as some fucking kicker.
That's a good story though.
I stole the salami from Cantor's once.
That's also good. That's a good. I would have got pastrami, but
For
whatever.
real, we were in line. This was like 2 a.m.
I thought you were joking.
No, my buddy reached over the deli counter, got one of those giant salamis, and threw it to me, and said, "Run." And I
Hey, you got it.
And we got it.
Yeah.
Raced through Topanga Canyon.
What else did you steal? You got anything else on your resume that you got away with?
Oh yeah, I had a huge heist. What started the whole thing is I ran a big. So I worked in a mall in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I'm from, and I worked in the sports store, and it's so stupid to say, but the store I worked in was great, so we started giving. I would trade out what I wanted from anywhere else in the store, and I called it the Malfia. Like I was the king of the Malfia, right? So I would give out like sports jerseys for. I could get anything in the mall pretty much except for jewelry or pets, or there was like this one Cinnabon store that these Mormons own that they wouldn't trade.
Yeah.
But I could get movies, CDs, anything, right? So everything's going good. I ended up getting caught by this chick, and one of the dumbest things I've ever seen happen. So they catch me right before Christmas. It's about December 22nd, 23rd, and they're like, "We know you're what you're doing. You're fired, but we don't have time to fire. We don't have time to hire someone else. So you're gonna work until like the 27th or 28th, and then you're fired."
Stupidest thing.
So in my head, I'm like, "You got it, right?"
You no problem.
So, but it became a problem kind of because then I'm like fucking Santa Claus, right? But then so kids would come in and I would give them shit, but then they would go back to their parents and their parents would come in and be like, "Why does my kid have a new hat when he doesn't have any money?"
Right.
So, but then like Christmas Eve and stuff, because right when they told me that, it clicked in my head. I'm like, I'm on it. So then I was just like, you know what? I'm really sorry. It's the least I can do is work. Let me make it up to you. I just played the bullshit card. But then honestly, probably maybe 2 of the best days I ever had was like right before Christmas, when like a single mom or someone would come in and I would just be like, what do you need? And I would just give her so much shit, and just watching like a mom cry, knowing that she.
I'm about to cry.
Yeah, it was an awesome feeling. You know what I mean?
You you know,
and she would just be
Robin
like, "Don't
Hood.
worry," but like even I was an asshole stealing, but I was giving it to watching these moms know that I was hooking them up, because they didn't. I was like, "What is it? Who's your team like?" You know, and then I would and then I hooked them up. It was one of the coolest things I ever did. But and when I worked there, you know, this is before technology, so I knew what everything costed. So like if you have a kid come in, if you have an 18-year-old come in and buy a fitted hat, it's $23.78 all day. So you just say $23.78, you hand them the hat, they hand you $23.78. I mean, it was the easiest thing in the world. No kid wants a receipt. So I get fired from there, so I moved to Dillard's. I'm working in Dillard's, right? Because I still got the Mafia connection, right? So I get a job in Dillard's, and so I run the biggest scam ever. So I work in the men's department. Now in Cheyenne, Wyoming, everything's expensive. You know, it's not a big place, but they have like Polo, you know, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica. This is like 2000. All my friends are black. They're broke. They want to wear like nice shit. And so I start off slow, and then they treat us just like absolute shit. The employees treat us like shit, right? Well, they don't have any cameras or anything. All they have is a one on-duty police officer, a Cheyenne Police Department, a real police officer. So he'll patrol the store, which, you know, puts fear in most people. But he would just sit up by the cosmetics and try to fuck the girls and shit or whatever, right? Or he'd take 2-hour lunches. It was just like for a real cop, that's like a lame job.
Right.
But they gave the store security. So over time, I had to convince everyone in the men's department, you know, they hate us because they did treat us like shit. And they hate us. So then once I got everyone on board, it was on. So, you know, we'd have lookouts, and then when their family came in, you know, and so I became obsessed with Ralph Lauren at the time. Now I'm a dude that might have like $2,000 to my name, and I probably had like an $80,000 wardrobe because I had every Ralph. Towards the end, I mean, to the end, I had like 4 Polo belts. I had already had every jeans, every shirt, everything you could have, right? So then one day, this dude comes in, and he's walking around the men's department forever. And we're all like, can we help you? You know, and it's just setting off bells. Like, who walks around here for like 4 hours? Right. So I felt like something was wrong. And then all of a sudden they come over the loudspeaker and they're like, Brandt Tobler, please come to the office, you know? And I'm in this moment of like, because I really started to believe I was like this Mafia guy, you know? And I was like, fuck it, I can ride this out. The part of me is like, just go out the door. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to go down there and see. So I walk down the office, and then I go into the manager's department. He's like, come with me. And then I go into this conference room, and I walk in the conference room, and it's the dude that's been walking around, the police officer, the men's department, and the head of the store.
It was a sting?
Yeah, it was. They flew this guy in from Arkansas, from the headquarters. So, because you'll understand why in a second. So they start doing that shit when you're like a little kid, when they're like, just tell us what happened and we'll go easy on you. You know, just tell us what happened. But my dad's in prison. He taught me a few things. You don't snitch on nobody, right? So I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know nothing. And they're like, they keep going, and this dude's getting mad. The head of the store was just this douchebag, and he's like pounding on the table trying to be like a badass. I just kept going, I don't know what you're talking about. So then they go, well, we saw your girlfriend walk out with 2 bags, which was true. I'd always have my girl come in. But then I was immediately like, well, why didn't you arrest her? And they're like, well, you should have arrested her then.
We
right?
forgot.
So they didn't know that. So they go back to the thing, and then their final move was, so when you worked at Dillard's, you were supposed to send letters out to if someone came in and bought stuff, you're supposed to send them a letter saying like, thank you for shopping at Dillard's, trying to build like a relationship, right? So I was sending these. I wasn't selling shit anyway. No one really was, and so I was sending these letters to my buddy in the Navy. And at the time, I'm like 19 and he's like 22, and I'm just starting to get laid a lot. So I'm just writing these awful letters about eating pussy and shit, just the most graphic things that they had to read through. Well, on the bottom of one of my letters, the Dillard's imprint is like on the letterhead or whatever. Yeah, sure. So I just wrote, I am robbing, and then it said Dillard's, fucking blind. You're not going to believe this, right? So they pull out this letter. So before that, he's like, the men's department is 1.3 million off in inventory. And we were like,
sounds right.
I know.
You guys are pretty good.
Yeah. And I was like, because by then we were getting the whole, or maybe it was the whole store, or maybe they were just, I mean, that's a big number. Maybe they were saying that to me, but honestly, we ran it for so long. You know, because I don't think they knew from the one time they did an inventory till maybe I came on right after they did an inventory, but we did. I mean, I hooked up everybody close to me, and So they're like, they pull out that letter and they're just like, what's this mean on the bottom? No, I didn't write Dillard's. It said it there. It kind of was implied.
Sure.
And I was just like, I was talking about when I was at sports fan, and there was this weird thing in the air and they didn't believe it. So they just kept going, no, tell us the truth. If you don't tell us, it's going to be so hard on you. And so we went back and forth for like 20 minutes and I kept saying nothing. And then I just had this moment. And I was like, all right, I got to take a stand. And then I was just like, I'm done. Either fire me or arrest me. And I stood up and they looked at the cop. They didn't know what to do. And I was like, and they're like, sit down. I was like, I'm done. Fire me or arrest me. And they go, all right, let's step outside. And they walked outside with the cop. And then after like 10 minutes, they came back in and I had to sign a contract that said I'd never go in another Dillard's again. And I got fired for mail fraud for sending out personal letters on company stationery.
Holy shit.
So they walked me through. So then they tried to make a big deal, and they walked me through the store, like to kind of parade me around like I was in trouble. But I wasn't in handcuffs or anything. So then they just walked me to the door and said, "You're out of here." And I said, "See you, gentlemen." And I walked to my car and
Legend.
with a huge smile on my face. I got to my car, I started crying because it really set in. Like, I called my girl, and I was like, "Oh, I would have been. I don't know what would have happened, but it was like this relief cry of like,
Was it tears of joy?
Yeah, tears of joy.
And,
And
yeah,
then
just letting the stress go.
Yeah, and then
Round
I-
of applause for fucking Tobler. Fucking A. Oh my
sorry,
God.
that was long.
No, it wasn't,
right
man.
away,
I
dude.
loved every second of it. Listen, we're going to wrap this up, but this is probably going to be, we're talking June, 1st of June, right now. Anything in LA that you want to tell your people,
no.
our people?
I'm
Just go to your website.
Yeah, just go to Brandt Tobler. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like I said, hopefully the one
And
man
your podcast is called what?
The 31. It's just 31
Okay.
podcast, and I think I'm very proud of it. So if you like
Okay.
podcasts,
Will you? Can I put you on a spot right now?
yeah.
I want to be I want to be a guest on your podcast.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, we'll figure all that out. Yeah, of course.
All right. And I want to say, you're a fucking awesome individual, dude.
Thank you, man.
I can't believe you're not in a coma or
A lot of
missing a
people
limb.
like Dillard's, and a lot of people would disagree
Right,
with you,
right.
but I appreciate
Right.
you saying that.
You know what we missed?
What did we miss? Oh no, we haven't missed it.
Are you
We
sure?
haven't
Time.
missed-
We
And
got
here's
time.
here's the way we wrap things up here. The Wizard of the Knobs, Travis, always has a question that is we don't even know.
Ethereal in nature.
This dude believes in ghosts, UFOs, and all kinds of shit like this. He's on mushrooms half the time. He might be on it right now. He's going to ask you a question. And Tobler, I kid you not, we do not know what it is.
Okay.
Wizard.
Hey man, can you give me like one good sports betting tip, like that always works?
Don't ever bet. Honestly, that's the one thing my boss.
Don't bet on the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, fuck that. They're every year.
I tell you what. I'll tell you a quick thing. One of the biggest bets I ever made, and you could do this in Hollywood, was we knew the agent of the girl singing the national anthem, and they pre-recorded the national anthem. But then there was an over/under bet on how long she would sing. So use your Hollywood connections.
Nice.
Nice.
Don't think about game. Think way out of the box, because those are the times you could really.
Something that's actually concrete.
The prop
Something
bets.
that we knew we couldn't. That was one of the biggest bets I ever made, because we knew we couldn't lose, and we didn't even really care about the Super Bowl because we had so much money.
How much did you make?
I myself probably made 14,000, and I can't imagine what my bosses made. And I mean, I'm so on the low end of it. So think, if you are out there betting, use every connection you have to know,
That's
when
crazy.
Chunky B's son is playing in the World Series,
Yeah, for sure.
tell him to bunt or
All right, listen to me. Brandt Tobler, I want to say thank you for being in the Garage of Love. Thank you for being on 1 Degree of Chunky B. I want to give a big thank you to Gary Adler, the executive of Love. All right? And the Wizard of the Knobs, Travis Spencer, you know that you just fucking rock the free world.
The nucleus.
Hungry.
Yeah.
Hungry.
You hungry? Well, guess what? We got some old leftover pizza for you. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, no.
Yeah, hit the donate button, pizza.
Donate. Oh, look
Feed
at
me, America.
You did a double secret, little thing there. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chunky B. You are watching 1 Degree of Chunky B, chunkyb.tv, and thank you for all you. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Tobler, you're awesome.
Thanks, buddy.